Hello everyone, without further delay, here are levels 3 and 4 of our video game movie Iceberg. Steven DeSouza, director of the Street Fighter movie, told The Guardian in an interview that Jean-Claude Van Damme, who played Guile, was, quote, coked out of his mind during the production of the film, which made it difficult to film scenes that involved Van Damme, as he would appear late on set for days or even not show up at all. Fans of the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Retrieved lost and cut footage and created a new cut of the film known as the Morton Jangle Cut, which was named after co-directors Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel. Some of the unseen deleted scenes added included the Mario Bros. Running afoul of the probably mafia-connected Scapelli Plumbing Company, Koopa murdering a technician by de-evolving him into slime, and Iggy and Spike rapping about the overthrow of King Koopa at the Boom Boom Bar. According to editor Danny Retz, the alley where the Lee brothers are about to face off with Boa Bobo was shot in downtown Los Angeles and had to be steam cleaned due to its frequent use by the homeless and junkies. A teaser trailer for a Sly Cooper movie was revealed in 2014 to be developed by animation company Rainmaker Entertainment, but aside from a few mentions that the movie may not release in 2016, and after the box office performance of Ratchet & Clank, the movie never saw the light of day. Sonic Wonders of the World was a canceled live-action film about Sonic the Hedgehog that was planned to be released as a tie-in with the canceled 1996 Sega Saturn game Sonic X-treme. Most of the story treatment and first draft script centered around a boy who brings Sonic from his Sega Saturn to life in the real world. Chris Casamassa was originally hired to work as a stunt ninja for the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie. During his audition, the producers were so impressed that he would eventually get the part of Scorpion. Ed Boon, one of the original creators of the Mortal Kombat video games, has gone on record in several interviews about his hate for Mortal Kombat Annihilation. In 2001's Tomb Raider, filming scenes of the Land Rover driving through the jungle had many reshoots due to snakes and other wildlife falling through the open-top roof, with Angelina Jolie reportedly terrified during the experience. Guinevere Turner, the credited screenwriter for the first Blood Rain movie, recalls an unpleasant phone call with Uwe Boll after going over the first draft of the script. Turner was expecting edits and rewrites after the first draft, but Boll basically took that first draft and completely rewrote it with the actors during filming. Originally, 2005's Alone in the Dark movie was supposed to coincide with the upcoming Alone in the Dark video game. However, Eden Games, the game's developer, would later delay and rework the game, which would later release on June 26, 2008. The 2010 release of Prince of Persia was met with controversy online and in several news outlets due to whitewashing of most of the cast, with most of the criticism being thrown at Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays Dostan. For the first Resident Evil movie, Sony Pictures held a fan poster submission contest. 100 stills were made available for contestants to use to make their posters. The winning entrant was former games developer Des Barres, who received $2,500 and an offer to attend a private screening in his hometown with up to 100 friends. Writer-director Mike Cuff originally secured the film rights to the game Dead Trigger in 2015 and began filming a live-action adaptation starring Dolph Lundgren and Isaiah Washington in Mexico on May 2016. Cuff would eventually leave the production, and Scott Windhauser, who had rewritten the screenplay with Dolph Lundgren, would finish the film. Madfinger Games, the developers of Dead Trigger, withdrew their support for the film as the approved script was altered so radically by Windhauser and Lundgren. In April 2019, a script to the 2018 Tomb Raider sequel was being drafted, with Alicia Vikander attached to reprise her role as Lara Croft. Ben Wheatley was hired to direct the sequel, but Wheatley mentioned in an interview that COVID-19 pretty much stalled production, and he would later move on to direct The Meg 2. MGM would later lose the film rights, which were bought by Amazon Studios, who at the time of this recording is planning a Tomb Raider shared universe. In an interview with director Paul W.S. Anderson during the release of Monster Hunter, the director mentioned how he worked very closely with Konami Fujiko and Capcom to make sure that the Monster Hunter movie canonically fit within the franchise. He added that this included carving out a space for the story that takes place immediately after the events of Monster Hunter World, but before Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Due to the low budget of the Werewolves Within film, they could not secure the rights to use the U.S. Postal Service logo, hence why National Mail Service was used instead. During a meeting with Universal on a potential role in a Fast and Furious movie, Dave Bautista declined the offer and took the opportunity to talk about his longing to be Marcus Phoenix in a Gears of War movie. Bautista has been lobbying the role of Marcus Phoenix for years, even being added as a character in Gears of War 5. 2 vibrating BFGs were created specifically for the Doom film. Both were kept by Dwayne Johnson after filming. Paul Walker was attached to the role of Agent 47 in 2013 for Hitman Agent 47, and was scheduled to play the role after finishing Fast and Furious 7. However, Walker's tragic passing in November 30th, 2013 led to the recast of Agent 47, which eventually went to Rupert Friend. Actress Michelle Rodriguez is a huge fan of the Resident Evil franchise and made it very clear to her agent that if anyone ever wrote a script about Resident Evil, that she wanted to be a part of it. Her agent put Rodriguez in contact with Paul W.S. Anderson when his screenplay was bought. Another Uwe Boll entry, the infamous 9/11 scene in Postal, where several terrorists call off the attack when Osama bin Laden informs them that they would not receive their 72 virgins, is the opening sequence. Dave Foley, who plays Uncle Steve in the movie, said he tried convincing him to remove the sequence if Boll wanted any chance for the film to play in any theaters in the US. However, the film would end up releasing in the United States and Germany. In an interview with Aaron Paul on Jimmy Kimmel, Paul recalls how he got the lead role in the 2014 Need for Speed movie. According to Paul, executive producer Steven Spielberg was binge-watching Breaking Bad and decided along with director Scott Waugh that Aaron Paul shouldn't play the villain of the movie, but the lead instead. During the shooting of a fight scene in 2010's Tekken movie, John Lee accidentally cut above Kung Lei's lip, but Lei insisted that they continue the scene as he wanted to get back to his actual MMA training, as he had a fight scheduled during the production of the film. The blood you see in this fight is real. Before the official release of 2016's Assassin's Creed movie, there were apparently talks of 2 more sequels being developed, with one apparently happening during the Cold War. However, these sequels would be cancelled during the Fox acquisition by Disney, as well as the poor performance of the first movie both financially and critically. The Uncharted movie was banned in Vietnam and the Philippines due to the appearance of a treasure map in the film that featured the 9-dash line that depicts the South China Sea as being part of China's territory. In 2017, Activision Blizzard Studios would announce plans for a Marvel Cinematic Call of Duty movie universe, helmed by Hateful Eight producer Stacey Sher and former Disney executive Nick Van Dyke. They have apparently been plotting for years for future plans for not only films but TV shows on the franchise. However, in 2020, Stefana Salama, the director that was in talks of helming the first COD movie, stated that it had been canceled due to the studio not prioritizing a movie for the franchise at this time. The scene in Detective Pikachu where Tim mentions a gangster film on TV as an old detective movie is actually Angels with Filthy Souls, a movie within a movie which was featured in the original Home Alone. 2019's Banana Splits movie is based off the Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters with a horror twist involving animatronic animals killing people. Many people believe that due to the movie's similarities with the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, the Banana Splits movie was actually a rework of one of Warner Bros. Pictures' scrap scripts when they had the rights of the then upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's film adaptation. This might be a mere coincidence, but during one scene in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the song Barracuda by Heart plays. But if you take the word Barracuda and break it down as controller commands, B-A, right, A, C, up, down, A, this is apparently the level select code for Sonic 3D Blast. According to Paul W.S. Anderson's commentary for the DVD release of Resident Evil Apocalypse, Snoop Dogg was originally chosen to play the role of LJ, but left the project and was replaced by Mike Epps. Uwe Boll and Anthony Bourdain met in 1999 when the director was scouting locations stateside and met Bourdain at a French restaurant that Bourdain was the executive chef for at the time. Fast forward to 2007, Boll was shooting Far Cry in Vancouver, Canada, and Bourdain was there filming an episode of No Reservations. Bourdain called Boll and asked if he could cameo in the film, and Boll loved the idea, which led to Bourdain playing the small role of a scientist working in a medical lab who ends up shot to death near the end of the film. Super Mario Bros. 2, the comic, is a fan-made webcomic that is considered the spiritual sequel to the original 1993 Super Mario Bros. The webcomic was written by Stephen Applebaum and Ryan Haas, 2 editors of a Super Mario Bros. The Movie fan site, and they actually collaborated with Parker Bennett, one of the film's original screenwriters. Bennett apparently provided Applebaum and Haas notes and ideas for what would have happened after the original movie's Hook ending. The voice of Blair's fighter's onboard computer, Merlin, is the voice of actor Mark Hamill, who previously played the character of Blair in the computer games Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, Wing Commander 4, The Price of Freedom, and Wing Commander Prophecy. When the Doom Annihilation movie trailer released in 2019, id Software responded to questions about their honest opinion about the movie so far, and they responded with the official Doom account, quote tweeting, "We're not involved with the movie." 2023's Super Mario Bros. Movie developed Mario and Luigi's family using unused Nintendo sketches of the Mario family. Director Brian Taylor was hired to write and direct a Twisted Metal movie for Sony Pictures Entertainment in 2012. According to Taylor, the movie would have been a Ghost Rider meets Death Race, but the film never came off the ground after the announcement, and would end up in development hell. In 2017, Taylor confirmed that at the time Sony had passed on the film, feeling that the series' fanbase didn't warrant the higher budget, especially after the low sales of the PS3 Twisted Metal game that released in 2012.